All right, so it's Thursday, August 7th. I did not take a trade today, so we're going to go ahead and explain why I didn't, and this also saved me money, so let's get right to it. All right, y'all, this is going to be the trade recap for Thursday, August 7th, so let's get right to it. So let's start with ES. So on the 4 hour time frame, we broke structure above this high. Cool. We were bullish on the 4 hour time frame. Then we went ahead and scaled down into the 1 hour. So we were also bullish. We broke structure above this high. Cool. So we had a bullish bias going into the day. But we did have this really big extension move, so I was kind of expecting some, probably a low, at least a low being swept, and as you can tell, that's what we got. So I'm going to say why I did not find an entry, though. So again, we're going to go ahead and mark out our hourly high and our hourly low, which was down here. Let's go ahead and scale down into the 15-minute time frame. So as you can tell, we got that sweep of liquidity right here, market open. So now what am I waiting for? I'm looking for longs, right? So I'm waiting for a 5-minute break of structure mixed with 1-minute confluences. And as you can tell, we never got that break of structure on the 5-minute time frame just because it is a higher time frame sweep. I was going to wait for a higher time frame confluence just to get confirmation. As you can tell, we never got that. We straight up just shit the fucking bed. So that's why there was no entry on ES. And yeah, and we never got a sweep of 1 hour highs for me to be able to switch my bias into being bearish. All right, now let's go ahead and run up NQ. So I saw a potential entry here, didn't take it. So let's get right to it. So on the 4 hour time frame, kind of the same situation. So we got a 4 hour break of structure pre-market. So we're bullish on the 4 hour time frame. And then on the 1 hour, same exact thing. We broke structure right here. Cool. So again, we're bullish on both biases. So what are we looking for? We're looking for longs. But again, we did have this very extensional move here. So I was just waiting for longs. But I kind of was expecting a reversal. So what do we go ahead and do? We're going to go ahead and mark out our hourly high and our hourly low. So now let's go ahead and scale even lower. So since we are in a bullish bias, I'm either entering off of the 5-minute, looking for a sweep on the 5-minute within a fair value gap, 15-minute sweep, fair value gap, 1 hour liquidity sweep within a fair value gap, everything just waiting for a sweep, right? Just to be bullish. So as you can tell, we swept these hourly lows down here. And then cool. So as soon as we get that sweep, what am I initially looking for? So actually, before we even got that sweep, we got a sweep to the upside, right? So this is essentially why I didn't like this setup. It was mainly because we got a sweep of both hourly time frame lows and highs, which are essentially on the day the type of TPs that you want to take. So once I saw that happen so rapidly, and I just saw a straight up consolidation, I was just kind of like, it just wasn't even worth it on the day. And then news wise, we're going to go ahead and run up news as well real quick before we get even more into it. So there wasn't a high impact news today, so that explains somewhat of the consolidation. But as you can tell, we got that sweep to the upside, sweeping 1 hour highs. So okay, cool. What am I going to wait for? I'm going to wait for a 5-minute break of structure. As you can tell, we never got that down here. So that's why I didn't switch my bias. Essentially, I wanted to once I saw that sweep because we had an extensional move prior to this. So I was waiting to go long. But then we went ahead and swept these lows right after, which is essentially when I decided, I'm like, yeah, I'm just not going to take a trade. Like, it already took out 1 hour highs and lows, which are, like I mentioned, essentially where I would want to take profit. So, cool. We're just going to go ahead and disregard me being bearish after we swept these 1 hour lows. So now my bias is now bullish, right? So we went ahead and wait for that 5-minute to break structure to the upside. Because, again, it is a higher time frame sweep of liquidity. All right. And then on the 1 minute, okay, so what do we get on the 1 minute? So we got a 1-minute break of structure mixed with an inverse for value gap after getting that 1 hour sweep of liquidity. And then we got, what are we waiting for after that? We're just going to go ahead and wait for that 5-minute to break structure and a fair value gap on the 1 minute to be tapped. So as you can tell, we got that while we're waiting for that 5-minute. And again, I decided not to take the trade. This was more of just like a journaling trade. I didn't take this, but essentially if I would have taken this, off of that 5-minute break and this fair value gap being tapped, entry would have been right here and TP's up here. And as you can tell, it would have gone stopped right at this 1 hour sweep of liquidity. So it was invalidated, and I did good now by taking this trade. just due to the fact that I noticed that price action was just super choppy. We already took out hourly lows and highs, so there just was no really a big point for me to take this. So that's essentially the trade recap for Thursday, August 7th.